everyone. So on the screen right now there is a 2D scene, and in this 2D scene we have our player, and that player is walking on this path, and the whole scene is moving with it. This is right, but we can make it more better in visual just by adding a simple script, and that script is the parallax effect. So as you can see, this looks much more better. It gives this parallax effect gives the scene a little bit of depth. So in this video we are going to learn on how you can create this script from the scratch. So let's get started. So now I will create a new scene. There it is. And I will call this new scene as parallax tutorial. Let's open up the scene, and we can add in our first empty. This will be our background. Inside the background we will create our another empty. Wait, let's first check. Yeah, that the background is not at the 0 location, so let's clear its transform, right click and reset. And now our this empty game object, let's reset it as well. Now let's rename this to layer 1. You can name it anything you want. And now we will create another layer, which is layer 2 and layer 3. I will rename them by pressing F2. Okay, and now in the first layer we want our mountains, because they will be the behindmost thing. So inside the inside the sprites, we will go ahead and put mountain in the first layer. We will put bush in the second layer. Let's start it again. Okay, and we will put our path in the third layer. So now we have our mountains in middle, and we don't want that. So let's put mountains on the first layer. Let's put the bush in the second layer, and let's put our path in the third layer. Okay, so now everything looks good. So now I will take my camera, and I really don't like this blue color, so I'll just change it to something like light blue or sky blue for the sky. Now we will make the duplicates of them. So my mountain, let's take that, Control D to duplicate it. Let's move it behind, and now we want it to tile perfectly. So what we can do is we can get this X value depending upon your resolution. So for the mountain, let's go into mountain sprite of the image, and as you can see, this image is 1920. So we have to get back to decimal places, which is 19.20, and that is our tiling offset. So if we plug minus 19.20 over there, you can see my mountains are perfectly tiled. And now I will just duplicate this one again, and let's just remove this negative sign. And now as you can see, there are 3 mountains over here which are perfectly tiling. So we have to do the same with the bush as well. So let's Control D to duplicate it, and I think every one of this sprite, yep, every one of this sprite is 1920. So I will take the bush. Let's just plug 19.20 over there. Let's follow the hierarchy, and let's make this as 0 1 2 like that. So I'll just plug in minus value over here, because we did the same with the mountain. It doesn't matter, but let's just do that. And it is perfectly tiling. So let's Control D to duplicate it, and let's just remove this negative sign. So now we have the first over here, the second over here, and the third over there. Their location doesn't matter, the script will still work. Let's do the same with the path. Path is also 19.20. Let's give it a negative sign so that it goes to the left first, and then Control D to duplicate it, and let's remove this negative sign as well. Okay, so now we have three layers of everything, and it is important to have three of them so that it works perfectly. Now what we are going to do is we are going to add script on each one of these layers. It will be the same script, but they will have different values. We'll do that. Okay, so let's add in a script machine. We will create a new graph inside the script folder which I have already made. There is already a script available, but we are doing it from the scratch, so I will call it a little bit different, such as Parallax. Okay, let's not call it an asset. Parallax uh, tutorial, I guess. Let's save it, and now let's go ahead and edit our graph. I'll delete them both. Now the first thing we want to do is we need to add the parallax movement. So we need a reference to our camera, but luckily we don't have to create a game object separately for that. We can directly get our main camera reference in the script. So let me add in a update method. Yeah, I just deleted an update method and re got it again in the scene. Okay, now you need to make two variables which we will be needing. First variable is parallax effect. This parallax effect will be a float, and this is an object variable, so it will be specific to this object only. So even if in the script the value changes, it will be changed for this specific object, and that is very important. Also we will be needing another variable which is add position. I just call it an add pos. Let's make this a float. Okay, now we are ready to go. So we need to set the position of this whole layer depending upon the camera. So we will do a set position, and it's never there. That's really great. Let's do again. Okay, now it is there. Set position. I'll just plug the update method over there. Now we will create a new vector 3, and now what we want to do is we want to take our camera's position, so we will get reference to our camera. Just type in main camera, and it is not there again. Let's do that again. uh, Camera main. Okay, now we got a reference to our camera without making any variable, because it will take the main camera in the scene which is currently active. So we will get its position, and now we want to take the camera's X position. Okay, the get X, and now we will directly plug that into our X channel. So we are still not done yet, but I'll just show you why. Let's do one thing. Let's add the same script on them as well. So parallax tutorial, it's over there, and on the 3 let's add in the script machine graph parallax tutorial. Okay, so we got the script on both of them. We also need the same variable with the same name, so just copy this one, plug it over there, add, let's make it a float. Also we need add position. Okay, we will do that later. Let's add it over here as well. Let's make it a float. Let's go ahead and take the add position, Control C to copy, go to the layer 2 and then paste it over here as well, and let's make it a float. Go to the layer 3, paste it over there and make it a float. So now each one of our layer has the same variable with the name and has the same script, which is the parallax script. Now if we play, what will happen? Okay, so now if I move my camera, you can see all the layers are moving together. So this is our first step to get our camera, to take our camera's exposition and set it to our layers exposition. So our first step is done. And now the logic behind the parallax is that my camera will move a certain distance, but my following layers will move some percentage of the camera movement. So what if you get it, then it's okay. If you don't, then it's okay as well, because we are still going to make the snip. Parallax effect, let's drag and drop it over here. And now the percentage, we can take it by multiplying the position from which we are getting, and let's multiply it with our parallax effect and plug that into the X. So now we can give each one of this layer a separate parallax effect. So suppose the layer 1, which is mountains, so my mountains will only move like 80% of the camera movement. My layer 2 will move like 50% of the my camera movement, and my layer third, which is this one, this will move like 20%. Okay, so now if I hit play and let's go to our main camera, you can see everything is moving at a different rate of my camera position. So it is with respect to camera position. Okay, now that is it, that is our parallax effect. But there is still one more thing remaining, which is this tiling issue. So our scene, our this path, or we can say our sprites, they are ending, and we can like create a huge tiles like this. We can just keep on adding them, or we can make it procedural, which is much more better and convenient. So we are almost done with the parallax effect. Now we just need to add in the offset to this existing sprites. And now also one thing, you can on the fly change this parallax effect value, and it will be object specific, so each one of them have their own. So now let's stop the game, and now let's add the offset. So I will call this offset. Let's make the script for offset. Let's go ahead a little bit. And now the logic behind the offset is once our screen wait, I think I have disabled the gizmo. Okay, so once our camera gets over here and it just passes right uh, after this sprite, because this still it's a single separate sprite. As you can see, it's still a separate sprite and its origin is over there, and our camera origin is over here. So once both of their origin passes each other, as you can see, the end ends, the sprite end ends. So once we go beyond that, we want to take the first layer and move it, sorry, take the layer which we want to move and move it exactly at that distance. So make sure that your sprites are tileable in the x axis at least, so that you won't be even noticing the change, because it will happen in like in just in a one frame. So yeah, now what we will do is we will reset everything. Let's make it at its zero location. Let's take our camera, let's move it at its zero location, and now let's add in an offset. So we will go in our script. According to the logic, we need our camera's exposition. and we want to take the reference of the last sprite, which is that one. So let's create a child. So now as this script is on the layer 3 and layer 2 and layer 1, and we have kept every one of them at the last, so the last child is over there for each one of them. So the sequencing starts from 0, which is 0 1 2. So we need to plug in 2 over there, and of this sprite, the last sprite, we will get its position and its x coordinate. Okay. And now I think I will just plug it on the bottom over there, and now we will take the reference of this both position and we will take the distance between them. So you can do that by subtracting this position minus our camera position. As you know, as you can see that this position is higher than our camera, so once it reaches over there, the position once will be 0, and once my camera go beyond this origin point, it will be negative. And once that happens, we want to quickly add offset of certain distance. So this, when it gets less than 0, so less than 0, which is negative value, once it gets to the negative value, we want to select the offset value. Okay, and we want that to be in the add position layer. So we are doing this, let's drag that add pause, press alt to make it a set value, and just drop it over there. And we need an update method for this, so let's add in a late update. Let's plug that over there. Now the reason why I'm using the late update is because once the frame is rendered, I want to make this change. That's the only reason is, else you can use update as well. Now we can take the add pause again, because we are adding it to itself, and we will add it over here like this. So now the offset value currently is at the 0 because we are at the origin, so we don't want to add any offset right now. But once this logic, which is our camera, goes beyond this point, then we need to add exactly the offset that our each sprite is, which is 19.2. so if we move it exactly 19.2, then our this origin will be over there. So, and it will look like nothing happened, it will just tile perfectly. So once this logic is true, we need to add in 19.2. And if you want to make this 19.2 procedural, which is you don't want to hard code this number in, there is another way. And that way is, if we take the reference of this last child, which is this one, obviously get child, because our script is on layer 3 child, and then we can go ahead and wait, let me just show you something quickly. So this last child has this sprite renderer component, we need to get a reference to that as well. So this last child, I will go ahead and type in sprite renderer, and inside this sprite renderer we can get bounds, and this bounds has a component which is get size, which is this one. So this actually gives you the maximum size of it. So we want its x component, and this x component is exactly this value, uh, but procedurally, so we can directly plug that over there and it will still work. But I think I will prefer to not go this long because I already know the value. 19.2 is the value, so I'll plug that over there. Control D to duplicate it. Let's plug 0 over here. Let's plug that into the false, because once this is false we don't want to add anything, so it will turn 0 and it will stop adding it once it is done. So now if I hit play, let me grab my camera. Okay, I selected my camera, and if I move it forward, oh, nothing is happening and it's keeping on adding the number. And the reason why is because we did everything right over here, but we forget to add the offset over here. So let's do that. And now we need to add offset after we are done moving it. So after this multiply, as you can see, the set position is happening over here, and here we are just calculating the offset. So let's go on the layer 3. Doesn't matter on which layer you are, it will work for all the 3 layers because each and every layer is sharing the same script. So let's take the add position is just the offset, and now let's add it to our original set position, and we are done. So now what I will do is I will play it again and it will work. Definitely this time this will work. Okay, let me zoom in over there. Let me select my camera and let's move forward, and boom, it just offsetted so quickly that no one can even tell a difference. And as I said, it will work for all the 3 layers. It is styling perfectly. And now the mountain layer, yep, there it is. And we are done adding offset in the positive x direction. But if I go back ahead, it doesn't work, and we will now add negative offset to it. So it can be done in this area indeed, like I can just add in it over here, but to keep it simplified, for the tutorial sake I will duplicate the whole thing. Let's bring it down, and now let's call this as our parallax effect. So I hold down the control and the left mouse button to make a group. Let's call this as parallax. Let's call this as adding offset, and then let's call this as subtracting offset. Okay, so now what we will do is we will just disconnect them both. Let's switch their direction, and boom, our logic is done. Now all we need to do is, instead of adding something, we need to add a negative value, and when you add a negative value, it will just subtract it, if you know the basic math. Yep. Once we are done, I will now play it. Okay, everything is good. Now let's zoom out. Let's make this window a little bit bigger, and now if I hit play and if I move my camera, okay, something is weird. Huh. uh, I knew something was not working quite well. Oh yeah, the thing that I didn't change is that for adding we took the rightmost reference, but for subtracting we need to take the leftmost one. So the leftmost one is the first value, not the second value. As you can see, in subtracting offset, this second graph, uh, we need to change this number because we are taking the wrong reference. So 0 1, we need to take the 1th reference of it. So all we have to do is to change this number to 1, because 1 or the offset number of whatever you have over here. So the first one, the last one is this one, so obviously the one goes over there. And as we have kept the hierarchy same for everyone, which is, let me show you again just to be safe. So our mountain, the first one is in the middle, left, right, middle, for the bush middle, left and right, and for the path middle, left and right. You have to keep this same. If you change it, then things might go buggy. But now we have inputted appropriate number. So now what we will do is play again. Select my camera, and if I move back, it is styling perfectly. And if I move front, it is moving perfectly. And that's it. That's how you make your parallax effect. But one more thing, you can add one more thing to the script, which is the parallax effect on the y-axis, and it is very easy. All you need to do is, in the set position, you just have to add the another parallax effect, this multiplier on the y, and I think you don't need to add anything over there. You just have to clamp that value. So to quickly show you how to do that, this parallax effect, you can create another variable. So as you can see, this parallax effect, you can call this as parallax effect x, and then you can create another variable for the y direction, so that each one of them have a different value. So let me just copy this, let's paste it over here, and let's give it a different name such as y. Let me make it capital, and let me remove that. Okay, so if I make this a float again, I will just increase the screen. We are now at the parallax group which we created. Now doesn't matter in which layer you are, in which script, because the script is same again. Now I will take that value. I can make this value something like 0.2, and I will keep the 0.2 for everyone, or I can change it depending upon what image I have. So I'll just take multiply again, multiply the original value with the y value and plug that into the y. So now I can just take this, copy it, go to the layer 2, paste it as a new variable. Let's make it a float. Let's call this as 0 point, maybe say 5, or let's say 3. Let's go to the layer 1. Let's add in a new variable and let's make it a float. Let's make it 0 0.5. So now if I hit play, let's select the camera, and if I move into Y, they are indeed moving, but the parallax effect is way too small for it to happen. I guess I just have to increase the value. So in the X, what? Oh, okay, the mistake we made, the mistake I made, actually, not you. The mistake I made was the X. No, for the Y, we need to take the Y position, not the X. Sorry for the mistake. So let's take the Y component, let's get our Y, and let's multiply Y with the Y and not the X. So now the whole script is ready. Now if I hit play, it should definitely work now. Let's select our camera, and if I move it, you can see the mountains move much more than our path. And now you can play with the values as you need, and we are done with the script. So I'll just give you a brief overlay of the script so that you can copy it easily. I might provide a GitHub link for the sprites, and if I'm providing a GitHub link for sprites, I might as well just give the script indeed. So for the parallax, this is the script. I hope it is visible. And now this is for adding offset. I will just make a window a little bit bigger. So this is for adding the offset, and now this is for subtracting the offset. Great. So hope you all enjoyed the video. If you learned something, make sure to subscribe, like, and share it with your friends. And that's it. Bye bye.